As inflation continues to rise, does your food budget continue to go down? Hey, what's clucking, peeps? I'm Georgiana, and this chicken here is Wheezy. Whether you're a single mom, a family on a budget, or anyone just looking to save money on food, I've got a few recipes today that have you eating like a peasant, but enjoying it. And to help you plan your menus, budget, or daily to-do lists, grab a free copy of my weekly meal planner and day planner in one. The link is in the description box below. Now let's get cooking. Today's first peasant recipe is going to be good old-fashioned farmer's bread, a Depression-era type bread, and it's very simple ingredients. So with the wet ingredients, you can kind of choose between how much. I usually do a half to 3/4 cup of yogurt. It is about 2 cups of milk. So I'll give you more exact ingredients, something to go by, in the description box below. Get those all incorporated together. And it's about 3 cups of flour. So I'm going to do 1.5 of the white, 1.5 of the wheat. There we go. Let's get our baking powder and salt in there. Don't want to forget those. Again, it's about 2 teaspoons. Something to make it rise. And just like a good teaspoon of salt, because that adds a lot of flavor. Of course, do what you got to do if you're trying to control your salt intake, but for a whole loaf, that's not that much. So we call this peasant food because it's pretty basic and really simple. This does have some protein in it and fiber, and it's filling. This is what I usually do. I just add milk till it gets to the consistency I want. So because I know with bread and flours and things like that, things can vary based on your climate and elevation. I am in the Rocky Mountains in the middle of Utah at about 6,000 feet and high desert. So these are factors. So keep that in mind when you're following a recipe. Things might not always turn out the same anyways. You'll be like, wait, why didn't it turn out like the video I watched or the recipe? Well, and that could be a factor. So you're going to go for, don't be afraid, just go for a consistency or texture. And kind of like pancakes, you're not looking for a smooth batter here. That moisture will get soaked in baking. But anyways, back to this. So this is like an old-fashioned recipe for good for lean times or when you don't have very many ingredients. And we know with inflation, that's why I'm doing these, what I'm calling peasant recipes. And there's a reason where that comes from. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody's hard times. I mean, we have inflation is high. And a lot of us, me included, our day jobs have not done a market increase for inflation. So things are really tight a lot of times. But I have fun playing with the word peasant because what the next recipe I'm going to do is peasant pasta. And I call it that because my niece and I went on a trip. Thankfully, it was 2019, end of September, October. And we went to Italy, Slovenia, and Croatia. And it was just so fun to say. She was living in Tucson at the time, and we're both travel types. And I was like, meet you in Rome. It's so fun to say that. Meet you in Rome. But I kind of do, with cooking and with travel, I kind of do a lot of the high-low method. And this is kind of like the batter consistency we're looking for. Could maybe be a little thicker. But again, I said like when you bake it, just go a little longer if you need to go 5 minutes longer. Let me get my pan. I'll finish the story. So there. So I've greased the pan and I put some parchment paper so it's really easy to get out so you can cool afterwards. Let me get this. And I got a small country kitchen, so not a lot of space here. Just a sec. But when I planned the trip, we would plan like more fun, little expensive places to stay or to eat. And then other times I was like, well, some of the Airbnbs that I booked I will, when I was sure to get little kitchenettes. And I said, well, when we get to Italy, because that was our first stop, we met in Rome, I'll buy a bottle of olive oil. And I packed a couple of spices. So you just pack some Italian spices and garlic salt. I'm a fan of garlic salt. And pepper. Those were the main things. So we had the olive oil in that. And then I thought, well, wherever we're at, whatever village, we're a little market, we could buy some pasta, some dry pasta, or fresh. One time I think it was fresh. And just make our own peasant pasta night. It'll be just simple, because not like it was in any way pathetic, because we were having fun, had plenty of gelato, ate well overall for the whole trip. And when you think of pasta, just plain, it does have protein in it, and it is filling, and it was fun, especially when you're in little kitchens. We had the cutest little kitchen in Split, Croatia, adorable little Airbnb, and this fit the peasant pasta thing. That B&B cost us $25. I rented it for 2 nights, right in the old town, so it has this old town vibe. 5, maybe 10-minute walk, because I'm a little slower with my health issues, but still working on improving that. Oh, and this pan is clean, trust me, sorry. To market, they have a big open-air market there to get food and stuff. But it was just so much fun. It was a great trip. So you're going to bake this again at 350 for about 30-35 minutes. It's my average. And that's our first peasant meal. Oh, hey everybody. We're waiting for groceries to come in. We've got a little bit of spinach left. Hey Vern, is it okay if Mommy steals a little bit of your spinach to put in her peasant pasta dish? My piggy chickies. Get some more. Oh, goodness, Vern. Okay, it doesn't come with protein. Leave the fingers on. Gertie. Gertie wants some. Okay. Oh, you took a big one. Back up, you're stepping on it, Vern. Get off the bag, Vern. Blanchie wants some. Blanchie likes to eat spinach out of my hand. Oh, Weezy, you sound like an old lady. Matilda. Louise. Blind chicken. Agatha, another blind chicken. Can't see. It's here, Louise. It's there, Louise. She can't see good enough. There you go, Mabel. Miss Mabel. Mabel and Vern. Blanchie. Myrtle. Vivian. Vivian's the blonde. Okay. For our peasant pasta, we are going to have 3 main ingredients, plus typically olive oil. I'm out of olive oil. I do have some avocado oil left, which is just right up there with that, right? You can use your pasta of choice. Fettuccine would work great. I splurged an extra 10 cents or so. I went to Winco. I'll show some video there, where you could buy by bulk. This was $1.38 a pound, and I'm only going to use a third of this, right? So, and it'll be a few meals. It'll be quite a bit, because, you know, pasta grows. And, again, a little bit of spinach that I stole from the chickens. I do buy fresh spinach for the chickens and ducks, so especially in the fall and winter. They've got some fresh greens. They are my children. So, there's a little bit of that. We're towards the end of the week. This expired a couple days ago, but still doesn't look too bad. So, when you get the bag ones, they can last. It's lasted all week, and we're still just waiting for the fresh stuff to come in. And then some Italian seasoning, and I'll be using a bit of the olive oil or avocado oil and some pasta water. Okay, for cabbage soup, main ingredient will be cabbage. I'll probably even only be using a quarter of this. And I got half of a small onion, have to leave that down. I've had it refrigerated. If you have issues like I do where your eyes can get really bad, doing okay right now because I just took it out of the fridge. Refrigerated helps a lot. That's why I cut it in half and turned it downwards so it's not letting off as many fumes. And I will chop it pretty fast. That is one way that could help. And I have one small gold potato. So this is the elevated version.
Suppose there's anything extra to put in? Oh, well, nothing goes better with cabbage than cabbage.
Well, we're going to add a little something. We get to add a potato. And the guy at the market laughed. I was at Winco. I got 2 slices of ham. I said, just 2 slices? Just want to show this is going to add a lot of flavor. We're going to saute these 2 to start with to get a little flavor in the bottom of the pan. And then we'll add these and let the soup cook for a bit. But other seasonings. If you don't have broth, I often make soups and stews and stuff and sauces with no broth. I'm not opposed to getting it, but a lot of times you don't always have it. And you can make your own if you've got a decent amount of seasonings to add to your pan or your pot or whatever. A lot of these are 99-cent ones. You can go to the Dollar Tree. They've got $1.25 ones. I forgot to mention garlic salt. Garlic salt will go in everybody. Same thing with the pasta. It adds a lot of flavor if you've got like even just onion powder, garlic salt, Italian seasoning, or oregano, and a lot of them come in those little inexpensive sizes. And that lasts a good long time. So that can add a lot of flavor. So let me get chopping. My water's about to boil for my pasta, so I'm going to get that going. I need to cut around that core. I don't want that. I can throw that out to the chickens. They can hack away at that. So will the rabbits. They'll probably like to chew on some of that. Crispy. Yeah, that's about all I'll use. And just cut it up into bite-sized chunks. I already soaked these earlier and washed my potatoes. I'm doing little bite-sized pieces. Also makes it like go farther in the pan type of thing. And I like doing, well, I'll do it with russet, but I like the gold potatoes, Yukon Gold, red potatoes, and leaving the skin on. Like I said, I'll do it sometimes with russet. It's just more rustic looking potato. But the skin has so much more nutrients, added fiber, and vitamins. And did you know there's a decent amount of vitamin C in potatoes? That's pretty cool. So, good for the season. Vitamin C is always good. I'm not a fancy chopper. There we go. And then the onion. I need to sharpen my knife. I've had this knife for 25 years. A new one. Okay, here we go. You can just give this a rough chop. So what's great about soups, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. And I have to hurry because of my eyes. So I'm going to do the onions and ham first. Going to get the onions going in the pan. I've got a little bit of oil in there. You could use butter, use whatever fat you want, but it needs a little something to go to. So put a little fat in the pan and I start sauteing these up. This will add some flavor. Extra flavor by browning it first. Gave the ham a rough chop. Again, just 2 slices. I believe it came to about 65 cents. I think that was still kind of high compared to the a few years ago. Let me drain it right here. This is what I usually do because you can save some. I've got one of those pots that has the holes for draining. It's an easy way to save some of the pasta water because we'll need that to make the sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add, like I said, I've got avocado oil right now because I don't have olive oil. Either one will work, or whatever oil you have, or even if you just add some butter or margarine. It adds a lot of, holds the flavor. We'll add some pasta water. And then I chop the spinach finely. That's our little elevated version, because that acts a bit like parsley. You know, when you chop it up real fine, there's all those flecks of green. It gets a little everywhere. I take that thing off. I like to use a lot of Italian seasoning, though. It's actually moderate for me. Alrighty, and we got my other go-tos is garlic salt. I forgot to mention that. Season to taste. And some pepper. I have oregano. My family, we like oregano. Let me get this stir. Here. There we go. Stir this up. And if you had some cheese, or especially the more shelf-stable powdered Parmesan cheese, you could add some of that. I'm going to let this soak up some of that pasta water and oil. And here's just a simple pasta dish. Now it's developing some flavor. You can see the brown on the bottom of the pan. Once we deglaze it with the liquid, that's just going to be added flavor. That it was enhanced from our ham and our onion. And since I have them cooking these at the same time, the pasta and the cabbage soup, I kept some of the other pasta water. I'm going to use that in my soup and soup. Basically, it's going to be water. That in. Start adding in our cabbage. And potato. Get a little more water. So soup is another one where, you know, season to taste to your preference, and also for as thick or thin as you like it. Some of the water will cook off because we're going to let this cook on medium heat, medium low for, I'll let you know, I'm going to say 20-30 minutes. So what's nice about soups, you can leave them on the stove to cook, you know, cook down a while. Let me add some seasonings. Again, my usual go-to, garlic salt. Want a little more garlic probably, so I'm going to add some garlic powder. Don't want it too salty. We have another one that is usually on the, you can get discounted, thyme. I'll put a little thyme to that to flavor the broth. And some pepper, just keep it really simple. We'll just let this cook away. Alrighty, and here's my bowl of peasant pasta. I tasted it, it tastes really good. So there are quick, easy things to do. And again, sometimes it's about money, and sometimes it's about time. And you want something just really quick and simple, and you know exactly what the ingredients are in there. A few more minutes. Enjoy. It's nice and firm. We got to let it sit with fresh breads, especially warm bread. You want to always let it rest for at least 20 minutes, I'd say. Cutting into any fresh bread, it like deflates it and can make it kind of gummy sometimes. So yeah, but this is easy to lift out. Just lift out to cool. And easy cleanup with the pan because it's sprayed. Here we go. Take a look at our bread. There we go. I tried to wait. It's been about 20 minutes. And we'll do it again. Yeah, so really moist, dense bread right there. Even just plain. Oopsie. Oh, set that there. Sorry. Yum, even plain without butter. And then here's our cabbage soup. Ooh, right out of the pot. So, for dinner, we'll have a little cabbage soup and some fresh bread.